So we already had said that there were two options for this particular stage of our script. But we've just realized that out of the box, the centroid for the type of data that we have, there is a centroid tool, but that won't work for us given the type of data that we have. Again, we've talked about that the entire portion of chapter 1, it's important to understand what type of data you have, because that's going to dictate a lot about what kind of tools you use and what kind of techniques you use. So that should be becoming very apparent that it's really, really, really important to understand data and the types of data and objects, object-oriented programming a bit, before heading into using of the tools. Because otherwise, you might have come up with a very nice, sleek algorithm that would work. But in this situation, Grasshopper didn't give you those tools. So it's either you script them yourself or you try and figure out some other way to use Grasshopper out of the box. In this situation, we're going to say, grab from me a couple points off that curve, draw a line between those 2 points and get the midpoint of that curve. Yeah. So again, what's that look like? Let's go down the rabbit hole again. I have an input, I have an output, I have a curve, yes, and I will eventually have effectively a point which is sort of centered near the middle of that curve. And in this situation, again, I know that this is synonymous with infinite points. I know that. So it's just about cherry picking out of this curve a couple of points that I want. What should those points be? I really don't know. And I'm hoping now that Grasshopper maybe can give me some inspirations, because I'm not so fussed about which points these are. I don't really care if they're necessarily maybe down here. I don't care if they're up here. And actually, I'm drawing them a lot like they were just a horizontal line. But would I really care if they were maybe drawn like this, where these were the 2 points? Not particularly, yes. So this is where it starts to become a little bit more art than science, because we really don't care. And, you know, one could say that you could easily start to dissect this thing 10 ways to Tuesday. Maybe we get this point, and this point. Then we create our own closed curve, right, which is a triangle. And then we actually know from the previous round of experience that actually we have something called centroid, or area rather, the meter squared looking component, that would actually take a closed curve and get us that point in the middle. So there's really a lot of different ways to do this, and let's just go explore. Again, as long as we understand that we want a point that's roughly here, you know, roughly here, then we can do our job. So let's just play around with Grasshopper a bit. I'll show you a few different techniques you could use. Again, there's no right answer at this stage. It's just about getting used to the way that you have to think.